Ben, say that thing that you said last night about the movie.
What did I say about the movie last night?
You said, because it's Maltese Falcon.
What? I don't even remember what I said.
Maltese Falcon, more like...
Oh, more like Millennium Falcon.
but what
more
you
like
said
the inspiration for Harrison Ford's entire acting career.
no. But that wasn't...
Kind of.
You said a different joke last night.
I that's all I said.
You said Millennial Falcon.
I did?
Yeah.
I did not say that. I said Millennium Falcon.
And then I said Boomer Falcon.
Oh, that would explain why I didn't get your joke at all.
Oh.
Wow.
This is disappointing.
This is a great cold open.
This is the show that we're doing, and it's really, really good. Yeah. Welcome to the show.
It's a show.
Welcome, everybody, to Ben and Marshall Do a Podcast. It's the official podcast of the Great Scub Do. We're back. It's been a whole 2 weeks.
Has it? Has it been more than 2 weeks, or has it been 2 weeks?
It's been 2 weeks.
Okay, good.
Well, right now it hasn't.
Well, okay, we're on schedule is what I'm saying.
Yeah, we're on schedule.
It felt like a long time. So, I hope it felt like a long time to you guys, and you've been really anticipating this episode, because it's a really good one, and it's probably the best one, and the best episode you've ever heard in your entire life. Because
of anything.
Today, well, what's our first segment?
Well, our first segment, Ben, is of course... Of course.
It's of course.
It's news.
And you would know this, the viewer or listener.
Because you listen to every episode.
Right. And
which I say to all my friends constantly.
We're just going to... It's the fake it till you make it thing, Yeah. Pretend that we have a ridiculous
huge
audience.
Listener base.
Yeah. So, Squarespace, you want to sponsor us? I'm not opposed to that. I've used that service before, and I would endorse it. But I don't endorse it yet because they haven't given me money.
I need to make a website, actually, so I should probably...
Right.
They should probably sponsor us.
They should sponsor us so we can make a website.
Yeah. But I do...
And or Wix, whatever.
I do, someone will ask me about a movie.
Right.
Like, weirdly, I had a conversation 2 nights ago. Yeah, it was 2 nights ago because it was before there was the curfew or anything, and I was out till like 3.
Right.
And hanging out with friends. I wasn't involved in any of the craziness, but someone I was hanging out with mentioned a movie, and I was like, "Oh, well, this is what I think about that." But you would know that already because you listen to the podcast.
Which movie was it?
Podcast. It was something about I Am Legend, and I said, "Oh, well, you know about that because we talked about that on episode 6 of Ben and Marcia Do a Podcast, Good Movies with Bad Endings." But that's your favorite movie and favorite episode, so you've seen that. And then they said something about Outbreak, and I was like, "Oh, well, I can tell you all about that, but you already know anyway because you listened to episode 4 of Ben and Marcia Do a Podcast,
right,
where we talked about the movie Outbreak." So
100%. Obviously, he did.
Actually, but
or she.
No, episode 3. It's episode 3. But yeah, that's kind of the thing that I do, and I don't know if people are tired of it yet, but I will never be. So here's the news. Are you ready for the news? Good.
Oh, absolutely, man.
I'm
Hit
glad.
me with that news.
Ryan Gosling.
Sexy.
Yep. Next piece of news. No, Ryan Gosling is going to star as the Wolfman.
Oh, the Wolf of Wall Street man?
No, the Wolfman.
Okay.
The big hairy one.
Right. Like a wolf.
Like the classic Universal monster movies kind of stuff, like Frankenstein and Dracula and the Wolfman and things, the Mummy, all of that. So there have been multiple attempts to create a quote-unquote dark universe.
Right.
In fact, they had a photo shoot where they had all their actors together back when the Tom Cruise Mummy movie came out, because it had Tom Cruise as the guy who is in the Mummy movie, and it's loosely connected to the previous Mummy movies. And then Russell Crowe played Van Helsing in this, and there's all kinds of Johnny Depp was going to be a character in one of these. He was going to be like a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde or something like that.
Right.
They had a whole photo shoot, like the Marvel 10-year thing with all the actors.
Wow.
And then the movie tanked, and that never happened.
Ooh.
It was very bold of them to do this. Oh, Angelina Jolie was going to be the Bride of Frankenstein.
Oh, wow.
That's
quite
they
the
got
cast.
a lot of huge polls,
Yeah.
and then it just never happened. They went in with too much confidence.
Kind of sad. But
also... They just did The Invisible Man with what's her name?
How do you make a movie about someone you can't see?
Well, it's not about the Invisible Man. It's not like the old version of the Invisible Man where it's an actually invisible man. It's like a horror movie, and it's a bad, evil ex-military guy who's the ex-whatever of this girl, and he's crazy and trying to kill her, and he has like a technology suit or something.
Wow.
I haven't seen it. Apparently, it's incredible.
Yeah.
So that kind of kickstarted them to try to keep doing this again. So they got Ryan Gosling now as the Wolfman. And apparently the idea is that he's going to be a news anchor who gets infected.
Okay.
That was the wording. I can't remember. I think from IMDb is where I got this article. And it'll take inspiration from Network and Nightcrawler. Which is, very interesting to me.
Yeah. I'm curious to see how that turns out.
Have you seen either of those movies?
No.
Yeah. You would really like Nightcrawler. I don't know how much you would enjoy Network.
Maybe next episode.
Oh my gosh. It's so heavy.
Yeah?
It's super dark. Yeah. Jake Gyllenhaal is intense in that movie.
I gotta watch it then.
Yeah.
I'll put it on the list of movies that I haven't seen that I should watch.
Speaking of super dark, intense movies, Sonic the Hedgehog sequel confirmed after star Ben Schwartz said he'd do a sequel without hesitation. Yeah.
Yes!
Those are not actually connected events. He just happened to say that, and then the next day they confirmed they were doing a sequel. They haven't said if he's actually going to be the guy just voicing
Sonic 2!
Sonic 2. Did you ever see it?
No, I never
I saw Sonic the Hedgehog in theaters.
Didn't you say it was like just okay? Like,
yeah, it was pretty fun.
Kind of good?
I had fun with it. It was a good time.
I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to seeing it, like especially after the amount of work that the team had to put into change the model.
Everything. Assuming that wasn't a trick, a ploy.
Right. That would be amazing if they did that on purpose. But
because it ended up making back its money and more.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You can't plan something like that. There's no you couldn't try to have a controversy that viral.
I don't know, man. What about Justin Bieber eats a burrito sideways? Remember that one?
That was a Yes Theory video on purpose to do that. Though.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying, man. It's a conspiracy.
Right. What I'm saying, though, is that there's way too much money riding on the movie for any studio to be like, hey, what if we intentionally made it look bad so that, we could fix it and then everyone would like it?
But then they got that Sonic the Hedgehog money. You know how it is.
Oh, I want that Sonic money, boy. What's our next piece of news?
Next piece of news. You remember Spider-Man?
Oh, yeah.
I'm not going to talk about him.
Okay.
J.K. Simmons, who played J. Jonah Jameson. You remember him? He's the one with the little mustache, and he goes, I want pictures of Spider-Man.
Oh, that guy.
Give me pictures of Spider-Man right now.
So
and he's like, I got you pictures, Mr. Jameson. And he hands him a stack of pictures, and he's like, this one's crap. That's terrible. I'll give you $100 for all of them. And that's what that is. It's Mr. J. Jonah Jameson. His son's an astronaut.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, so J.K. Simmons played him in the original Spider-Man trilogy, and
right.
it's probably the best casting that's ever happened in any movie ever.
It was a great for the role.
And a big surprise, at the end of Spider-Man Far From Home, he reprised the role. Have you not seen that movie?
No, actually.
Oh, it's really good.
Yeah, I've been meaning to watch it.
That's a very good Spider-Man movie.
I think it's the only Marvel movie that I haven't seen yet.
We should watch that.
I am totally down.
Oh, man, it's good.
Absolutely 100%
And we have
down.
Disney Plus. I bet it's on Disney Plus.
It is probably on Disney Plus now. And I think the new Star Wars out on Disney Plus?
Yep.
Okay.
But
I gotta watch it one more time. Just so I can be mad again.
But J.K. Simmons is he made that small appearance at the end of the movie in a big cliffhanger moment. Which thankfully we will see fulfilled after all the debacle way back of Spider-Man being or not being in the MCU for a while.
Yeah, that was odd.
Yeah, especially after this cliffhanger that happened where, things happen.
Right.
But he is signed on for multiple Spider-Man movies. Doesn't mean that they will use him.
Right.
But he is on retainer to do 2 sequels.
Yeah. I mean, I don't see why they wouldn't.
No use for him in the story, perhaps?
Oh, wait, are you talking about Spider-Man?
No, I'm talking about J.K. Simmons as J. Jonah Jameson.
I'm dumb.
J. Jonah Jameson.
Okay, yes. Yeah, that makes sense. Now I understand. I was like, why wouldn't they use Tom Holland? That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. Give me pictures of Tom Holland. I want Tom Holland, front page.
I just want to see his British little butt.
What? Next piece of news. Are you ready for this one? This one's pretty big.
Yeah.
First of all, I accidentally have HBO Max.
Oh,
and I
yeah. I've noticed. You gave me the password, and I watched some things on HBO Max.
Yeah, it's great. Particularly one movie, The Millennial Falcon.
The Millennial Falcon.
But we'll get there. So I didn't know that I had HBO Now. I knew that. I had HBO Now, which is the version of HBO that you have. It's just like the streaming version that you don't have to have a cable connection or anything like that for. It's not part of your cable package.
Right.
So that was like $15 a month. It's up there, but also, freaking quality programming. I love the stuff on HBO, so I thought it was worth it. I think I got it back when Game of Thrones was ending.
Right.
Oof.
So we've had it this entire time?
Yeah, but I've been watching stuff in between there. You knew that.
I did not.
Oh, well, you're a fool. You're an old fool.
Oh, not again.
Old foolish Weber. But apparently, HBO Max is pretty much just HBO Now
Right.
plus all of this extra programming.
Oh, wow.
And it's not like a separate service or anything. It's just like
It's like an on top of service.
it's $15 a month, the same,
Right.
no additional price, and I just have it now.
That's weird. I
Yep.
mean, I don't understand that pricing structure, but I'm not going to question it because
Well,
that means
I think
we get more
the idea is
movies.
that HBO Go is HBO, quote unquote,
Okay.
and HBO Now
Is the
excuse
movie
me,
side of stuff?
is basically defunct
Okay.
and is becoming HBO Max.
Gotcha. All right,
So
cool.
with HBO Max, with the $15 a month price tag, which
Right.
is granted high,
Right.
you get all of this extra stuff plus the regular HBO stuff. So I don't know what
Okay.
HBO Go is, what the regular
Right.
package is like. I would assume that it's less somehow.
Someone tell us. So, our vast
waiting.
audience. Well, on to the next piece of news.
Next
we'll wait
piece
for
of news,
them.
final piece of news, related to HBO Max, the Snyder Cut lives.
Dude, I'm so freaking hype. I want to see it.
Are you actually?
Yeah.
Huh.
I mean, it's Justice League, right?
Yeah, it's Justice League.
Yeah. I mean, I like again, it's kind of the Sonic the Hedgehog like curiosity, the same thing where it's like, okay, like did they fix this? Like, and also seeing the director's cut compared to like the one that I really want to see is the director's cut for episode 9 because
That's never going to happen
yeah, I know
because it never got shot in the first place.
right. But it would be amazing if that was a thing.
Yeah.
Or at least just to see the script, just to see what they were trying
Well, you
to
can
do.
see the script.
Yeah. Oh, really?
It's out there. That's how we
Oh,
know about it.
Just kidding. I'm gonna go read that at some
In fact,
point.
Mr. Sunday, I'll show you this. Mr. Sunday Movies,
Yeah.
great YouTuber,
A
does a
very
cool
great
podcast
YouTuber.
that this isn't derivative of at all.
No.
Um,
This is such an original idea.
original,
that no one's
completely
ever had.
original, brand new idea.
Because we have all the ideas.
I've never even listened to a podcast before. Not even
Right.
this one. I just edit it without it listening to it.
No headphones.
No headphones.
You just make random cuts.
Random cuts. But Mr. Sunday, he worked with an animator to put together various parts of the episode 9 script that Colin Trevorrow had worked on.
Very cool.
And it's not super fancy,
Right.
but it's done very, very well, and it's pretty funny.
Yeah. I can't wait to watch that. I'm gonna watch that right after this. Actually, no, I'm gonna go get footage after this, but I will watch that
Yeah,
at
it's
some
very
point
good.
today.
But that's pretty cool. So it's coming to HBO Max. They announced this. Zack Snyder was doing a Man of Steel commentary live watch on Vero, his platform of choice. And
I can't believe that's still a thing.
yeah, I think he's keeping it alive on
Okay.
his own.
That's interesting. Yeah, Vero. Is it Vero or Vero?
I've always called it Vero.
I've
Aloe
called it
Vero.
I don't know. I could be wrong though.
Aloe Vera.
Yeah, that was an interesting app. I got one of the free accounts, and then
Yeah.
I deleted it because I thought that there was a rumor that they were stealing your information.
Who isn't, though?
Right, that's a great point.
At that point, I got to blow my nose.
Well, it was before TikTok was a thing, and we knew they were stealing your information.
Oh, yeah.
And giving it to the Chinese government. So everyone was still a bit more freaked out when that happened. But it was also weird. They tried to do the scarcity thing, where it was like the first 1 million people to sign up get a free account, and then after that, it's like $5.99 a month.
Interesting.
So,
But he was doing a Man of Steel. Hold on, let me finish this.
by finish this, he means wipe his nose down with all the big boys.
Let's
not-
finish this. Let's do this. I'm Ghost.
We've been playing way too much COD.
Too much Warzone. Price. So
Marshall was just saying before this he needs to sign up to a voice acting website so he can sell his voice acting.
oh, dude, I could probably do a lot of killer ghost stuff if
Yeah.
I needed to.
Okay, all right. Let me rattle off some. Teletubbies.
Teletubbies.
Oh, no, I just meant the impression of a Teletubby.
Oh. Argo Bargo. I don't know what a Teletubby sounds like. I've got a tummy television.
Marshall the dog from the great show
Paw Patrol.
Paw Patrol.
Oh, I'm set. I stopped fires, but I fall down sometimes. That's all I know about it.
I don't know anything about it either. Margot Robbie.
Margot Robbie. What is this? Some kind of Suicide Squad? That was Will Smith in Suicide Squad. I'm sorry.
So if you need a voice actor, you can obviously see you have one right here.
I'm the best one.
Hire him, give him your money.
I do actually do good accents and stuff, but that's beside the point.
Can confirm.
But basically, he was doing the Man of Steel rewatch thing and doing the commentary over the top of it. It was live. It's really cool. It's still on there. I kind of want to go and watch it, with the movie
Right.
after the fact. Because I genuinely do like Man of Steel. I think it's very good. It's different, but it's very good.
I haven't seen it, but I've seen a bunch of breakdowns and stuff.
I like it. It's interesting. But at the end, they did a little Q&A, and one of the fans was like, well, I'm going to ask the question of all questions that we all want to know about, and I'm just going to ask it because you just got to know. And what about the Snyder Cut? And it was very cringy the way that it was asked and all that. But Zack Snyder was like, oh, well, yeah, that's a good question. Does that answer this? Does this answer that? And then he puts the promo art up on like the big screen.
Oh my god!
And they're all like, "What?" Oh, and Henry Cavill had joined in to help answer questions as well. So
amazing.
Superman is there with a blue tank top and a mustache, and in his like converted stable of a home.
Dude, I freaking love Henry Cavill.
Henry Cavill's the coolest dude.
Like he has figured out life. That is the epitome of like being happy.
Yeah, living in a converted stable, buying the horse that you ride in your TV show.
Right.
Have you seen his dog?
Yes, I have seen his dog.
Yeah, I think I showed it to you.
Yeah.
It's a freaking bear.
Dude.
It's also named Kal after Kal-El Superman.
Wow. Dang, that is...
The guy has a love for his roles.
Yeah.
Like The Witcher especially. He has read all the books. He's played all the games. He was lobbying for the part before he got it.
I like that casting. Like, give it to somebody who knows what the actual history of that series is, or any series, you know.
Now you have to watch it.
I will. Maybe.
No, you
Probably
won't.
not.
But it's really cool. It's coming to HBO Max. It's going to be really interesting to see, for the least.
Yeah, we got to watch the original cut, I guess.
Yep, which is on HBO Max.
Cool.
But
that could be a cool episode.
I kind of want to do that, but I have an idea first. We'll get there. But it's going to be like 4 hours long. It's going to be divided into 6 parts. There's going to be not necessarily additional like reshoots with the cast,
right?
But they're going to come back and do ADR.
Okay.
Which I don't know. What does that mean?
There's going to be the mouths.
I guess.
Originally,
like there was reports that it was going to be like a $20 to $30 million project to finish all the visual effects shots.
Right.
But then the head of HBO went on a podcast with somebody and said, "Oh, I wish it was 20 to 30 million.
I'll bet.
I won't give you the number, but let me just say, I desperately wish that it was that low."
Wow.
So they are spending buco bucks on this, which instinct makes me think this could be really good.
Right.
But also, I remember when news came out that studio execs gave Batman vs. Superman a standing ovation.
Right. That's a great point.
And that is not a good movie.
Martha!
Yeah. It's not good. And that's the other thing that worries me is that people have like, they've turned Zack Snyder into this godlike director figure because he never got his version of the movie.
Yeah, and then
for very real reasons. Like he dropped out because his daughter commits suicide. And he like thought he could just push through it and just decided, well, no, I'm not gonna. I need to stop and take some time.
Legitimate thing, yeah.
It is. So because of that, he never made his version of the movie and all that. So it's become this thing like every canceled video game ever just becomes the greatest video game that ever could have existed.
Right.
But you don't know that.
It's the stuff that dreams are made out of.
Oh, pretty cool. But yeah, that's the news. And with that, we move on to the next segment.
Hey, I've got a trivia question when we get to that point, actually.
Yeah.
Well, is it trivia time? Is it IMDb trivia? When do we get to do IMDb
no, that's at the
trivia?
very end. I know a trivia about that line.
Dang it.
Yeah.
I think we know the same trivia. Well, yeah, my trivia, I'll save it till then.
Yeah, it's for IMDb trivia.
I can't wait.
Everyone's second favorite segment.
Second favorite segment. What's their first favorite segment?
Well, it's time.
Oh my God, are you serious? It's time for the apartment news? Dude, okay, hold on. Before we technically start the apartment news, I have a very special surprise for everybody here today. And I spent some of my very own precious money on this.
But
it was probably the best purchase that I've ever made. So, without further ado, let me bless your ears.
Apartment News, your number one source for news about Ben and Marshall's apartment. And now your host, live on Linux, Benjamin Earl Weber.
Whoa, it's me, your host, Benjamin Earl Weber, and it's Apartment News, and we are back, and welcome to the show. So today in Apartment News, I didn't really plan this out, but we did put carpet in the mudroom. I think that would be called
the
mudroom. I don't know. Is that a mudroom?
I mean, the laundry room.
The laundry room. We'll say it's the laundry room. We carpeted it. I cut some custom pieces for it.
Is that some kind of boat term? Is that a thing you say on a boat? Yeah.
No, that's just like a white mom thing.
Never heard of it.
Like it's like a.
Oh, it's like the airlock. It's the in between. You come inside and all those little tykes.
Muddy shoes. Yeah, you put them all in there, and then they only have to clean that area, and they don't have to clean the entire house. Then you aren't tracking mud in the house, and your mom doesn't yell at you.
Good move. I also have apartment news suddenly.
Oh, really? That's amazing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean that was probably the biggest thing that's happened. We got rid of we moved some bookshelves around. We might be getting some new couches. So that'll be exciting when that happens. Yeah, and we cleaned up. We had the apartment pretty clean for a while.
Yeah.
It's still
great.
pretty clean.
Crazy what happens when like we actually put dishes in the dishwasher first off instead of like leaving them everywhere and like we put our stuff where it's supposed to be instead of just leaving it everywhere.
Right.
It's wild.
Yeah, I feel like we're still at a 30-minute like window right now. If we put 30 minutes into it, we could be back at 0.
Oh, extra clean.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I like the dishes that are in the sink that are right there right now because there's a whole load that's clean in the dishwasher.
Oh, well,
so I'm going to put those away after this actually. I was going to do that before this, but then we started doing it because you walked in here and I was like, I guess we'll do the podcast now.
I guess we'll do it. And here we are. What's your apartment news?
My apartment news is, so yesterday I watched the Josh Gad. Oh, yeah, that's one thing. I got my fancy, Ben just pointed to my amazing Philips Hue lights that I've
amazing.
Consumed my room with. And it is...
Why aren't we doing this with the colors of our podcast? Can we change that right now?
That's a good point. Computer, turn on B and M in Marshall's bedroom. Okay, I got to do it manually.
Frick you.
Hold on.
Stupid computer, aka
I made
Alexa.
a light preset with the gradient that we have on our
It's pretty
podcast
amazing.
logo.
I know you guys can't experience it, but it's going to put us a lot more. Oh, wow. I'm glad we did this before we started talking about the movie because I am in such this feels
amazing. Very chill, honestly.
It actually does. This is great. I love this.
But basically my real news was that yesterday I watched Josh Gad has been doing the Reunited Apart things where he's getting the cast of classic movies together,
right?
And they talk about it and they read some lines and it's fun and whatever. And I'm pretty much over all of these like celebrities get together and do a thing over Zoom.
To be honest, the Office thing that they did was such a clickbait.
Did the Office do a thing?
Yeah. So John Krasinski's doing like
some good news, which is very good.
It was good. But the episode where they clickbaited all of the Office cast reuniting was a little annoying because literally it was just them singing to like a couple who had just been engaged. And so it's like, if that's what it is, call it out. Don't say it's the Office cast reunites.
It's whatever.
Over Zoom. I don't know.
Yeah,
whatever.
I'm generally tired of these things. But then the
stuff.
latest episode of Reunited Apart was with the entire cast of The Lord of the Rings.
Wow.
And it was an absolute delight. Like I watched it out on my hammock outside.
Right.
And oh my gosh, it was just amazing. Because they was like, at first it was just like most of the Fellowship and Peter Jackson, the director.
Right.
So you had like all the hobbits and you had Gandalf and Orlando Bloom, Legolas was there. And then I thought, oh, well, it's a shame they couldn't get, Aragorn or Gimli or some of the other guys in here or whatever. And then they announced, oh, well, they're here. And they joined the call. And I'm like,
wow.
Yes, Viggo Mortensen and John Rhys Davies are here. Oh, my gosh. It was very exciting. But then they announced, and we also have Sean Bean. Sean Bean shows up and he's like, one does not simply walk into Mordor. And I was like, oh my gosh. And then they got even some of like the smaller players. Like they got the girl who played Eowyn and
See, I've only read The Hobbit, and Have
you seen the movies?
I have not seen the movies.
Well, guess what?
Because I want to sit down and watch all of them.
What? This is my apartment news. I just got a notification from Amazon.
Oh boy!
That my package.
Apartment news.
My package is 5 stops away.
What is your package, dude?
My package, and funny thing about 5 stops away, it usually means that it's pretty close. Lately with Rona and all that, it means that it is at Gretna because no one's ordering things that much. But which doesn't make sense. But it's super far away still. But my package is on Blu-ray, the Lord of the Rings Extended Edition, the trilogy.
Yes.
So we are going to watch these. It's going to be, and we're not going to even split it up. I feel like we have to watch all of them.
We got to marathon it.
And it's going to be, we have to spend a day because it's 11 hours and 21 minutes.
Yeah, I'm absolutely down for that. I was just thinking about that recently, actually, that I want to watch those because, actually, okay, did you read the books ever?
I read The Fellowship of the Ring and I read most of The Two Towers.
Okay.
I have it right here.
I may or not read them after or before. But I'm also trying to get on a kick of reading books. So if you guys have any book suggestions, just in general, of anything, self-help books, like, good narratives, anything like that, drop them in the comments or DM me. because I would love to read those and maybe even talk about them. But yeah, sorry, I don't know. That was a weird tangent.
That's my apartment news. So
I love that.
I'm super excited about it.
Well,
I was actually watching the theatrical cuts last night. I watched the Fellowship of the Ring and the Two Towers last night.
Right.
It was great.
That's amazing. Well, I'll hand it over to our voiceover artist for one more time, and he'll finish up the segment. The end. Oh, wow, that was amazing.
That was pretty neat.
And now we're on to the next segment, which I think is just talking about the movie. I don't know.
Welcome to the 19-something.
1941.
1940. Well, that's when it came out.
Okay. I got that right. See, I knew some stuff about it.
Yeah, I should probably get my notes out. That's when it came out. I don't know if that's when it takes place necessarily. It's
Right.
based on a novel.
I don't know if it's really important.
Based
when
on
it
a
takes
novel by
place.
a man named Mir, a paperback writer.
It is based on a novel.
Not by a man named Mir.
Yeah, that's also true. It was I can't wait to talk about this movie.
not the
It was
Beatles song.
very good. And the movie we were talking about, if you haven't read the title, because you can't read the title yet.
You don't know
until
what
we
it
get to
is,
this
and we
segment.
haven't said it multiple times up to this point.
Right. It is the Maltese Falcon.
The Maltese Falcon.
A classic and arguably the definition of film noir, and I will say arguably because there is some
It
debate in
did
the
like
community.
create it. It did invent it basically.
Yeah.
This is the first like big example of like film noir
Yeah.
in that style and everything.
Basically, from what I ascertained from my research,
Mm-hmm.
if you ask somebody what is film noir, the best place to start is
The
Maltese
Millennial Falcon.
Yes, the Millennial Falcon.
The Millennium Falcon. That's the difference. Is that
Yeah.
it has to be the
Falcon.
Millennial Falcon, the Maltese Falcon, or the Millennium Falcon.
Right.
It's like the milk. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
I know a guy who actually calls it milk.
Really.
Yeah, real life. He also says Pello.
Shout out Julian Smith. We miss all your videos.
Shout out Austin
and
Poole. He's starting a podcast soon.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Austin.
You know Austin. You worked at a chicken farm with him.
Oh yeah, Austin. He's starting a podcast?
Yeah, he's going to do outdoor stuff and things
That's
like that.
cool. I actually want to listen to that.
I want to listen to that. I'm trying to keep talking about it so he actually does it.
We'll shout it. We'll shout him out when he gets a.
Yeah,
when
we
he
were
gets it all
talking
up.
about like starting a podcast network between the two of us.
That's awesome.
Be cool. But here's the movie. It is The Maltese Falcon. Came out in 1941. I'll just run through the plot real quick because it's confusing. There's a lot going on.
Yeah, it is a very intricate plot.
But it's based on the novel by Dashiell Hammett.
Dashiell. That's
Dashiell
a great
Hammett.
name.
It is. And it was directed by John Huston, who, this was his directorial debut. He went on to do a
Really?
lot of really famous movies.
Yeah, I think he did Casablanca.
He did not do Casablanca.
Okay, but the main actor, I can't remember his name. For the
Humphrey
life of me.
Bogart
Humphrey
is
Bogart
the main guy
is-
in Casablanca.
Yeah, and did you know that actually they tried to do not necessarily a sequel to this movie, but they wanted to do a sequel with the same actors, and so I don't remember which one it was, but it was amazing. I'll look it up at some point.
Yeah.
But the only actor that they actually retained, even though they wanted all of them, was
Was
Big
it Peter
Fat Man.
Lorre? It was Gutman?
Yeah, it was Gutman, and apparently he was great in that role too. But yeah, and then there were two other actors who had their like kind of career start from that movie too.
That's
And I
weird.
think it was the same director as well.
Wow.
Speaking of which, the casting of this movie was just amazing.
Yeah.
You know,
And we'll get there. We got to get through this plot and everything.
Sorry.
But
I'm just so excited to talk about
yeah,
this
John
movie.
Huston did a lot of really classic movies. He directed The Treasure of the Sierra Madre, The African Queen, both Humphrey Bogart vehicles, and also The Man Who Would Be King, which if you don't know what that movie is, if you've seen The Road to El Dorado, it's the exact same movie except a lot less family friendly.
Ooh.
As though The Road to El Dorado really is in the first place necessarily. But Humphrey Bogart is the star of this movie. He plays Sam Spade, the hardened detective, the kind of the archetype of the hardened private detective. Oh,
Very
my
much
nose
so.
is really bothering me. Mary Astor plays Brigid. It is Brigid
Bridget. Okay,
with
that's
a D.
interesting.
Yeah,
Never heard that
Brigid, which is weird. Gladys George is Iva Archer, and
Is that the
Peter
assistant?
Lorre. No, that is the widow.
Oh, okay.
And Peter Lorre is Joel Cairo. Peter Lorre is fantastic.
I love Joel Cairo. I think it might be my favorite character.
There's a line from him that I wrote down that we'll get to.
You stupid fathead.
That's not that one, but we'll get there. So this is the plot. Prelude. And this is the title card at the beginning of the movie. In 1539, the Knights Templar of Malta paid tribute to Charles V of Spain by sending him a golden falcon. I'm going to do a Harrison Ford voice every time. By sending him a golden falcon, encrusted from beak to claw with rarest jewels. Then there's 5 hyphens. But pirates seized the galley carrying this priceless token, and the fate of the Maltese Falcon remains a mystery. A mystery to this day.
Hire this man for your voice acting.
Yes. Oh, I could have done that so much more dramatically. Then there's another title card. It says, San Francisco! So we're now in San Francisco.
Got it.
So Sam Spade, private detective, has a client. She's a knockout. She's looking for her missing sister. Spade and Archer, team detective.
I'm going to be honest. She was like kind of like a 7 maybe.
Yeah, not bad.
Yeah, not bad. Not. I don't know about knockout.
Yeah. In the 40s,
Could
probably
be.
a knockout.
Yeah.
Spade and Archer, team detective, agree to help. Archer goes personally and is shot by an unknown assailant when trying to tail Mr. Thursby, who is supposedly like keeping her sister captive, essentially. So Spade doesn't seem particularly put off by his partner being killed, which seemed very strange to me. I wasn't sure if it was just like the old style acting or if
Right.
it was that there's something weird about the character.
I think it's supposed
It was
to
the
be
character.
A character.
Yeah, and we'll get there. Sam goes to the scene, and the cops let him right in. Very 1940s. Shot by a Webley Forsby 8-shot, an English revolver. They don't make them anymore, according to Sam. The gun wasn't... Archer's gun wasn't pulled, and he wasn't robbed for any of his money. So there's a lot of weird things happening here. Spade is back at his room. A couple cops he knows show up. We find out that Spade doesn't carry a gun. Excuse me. And they think that... Now they realize... No, back up. The cops come to Spade's apartment, Sam Spade, and they tell him eventually that Thursby has been killed.
Right.
And they think that he did it because his partner was killed, and they put him kind of in the vicinity of it where it was around the time that it happened.
And the motivation would be that he was having an affair with his
Well,
partner's wife.
that he killed his partner.
Right, but the motivation to kill his partner.
Well, not that they don't think that he killed his partner. They think that he killed Thursby.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that was my impression at first as well. But then
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we don't know yet that
that's a
they're
good
having an
plot point.
affair. That's actually the next scene is that Iva Archer comes in, the wife of the dead man, and they are apparently having an affair, and less so now, I guess, because Miles is dead. Is it an affair now? I don't know. What's the semantics of that?
It was never fair.
It was never fair. Sam goes to visit Bridget. Turns out she lied about her sister and all that. She met Thursby in Asia, and she needs help with something still. That was a confusing scene for me.
I think it was kind of on purpose supposed to be confusing.
Yeah, but she's still helping him. And then Mr. Cairo shows up in the office and needs help finding a black figure of a bird. He offers $5,000. So Sam is considering this, and then Cairo pulls a gun on him and tries to search the office. There's a short fight, and Spade knocks him out. He wakes back up, thought he had it. He wakes up, thought he had it. Oh, yeah. So he wakes back up. He had held him up because he thought that Sam had the bird, and then they come to an agreement that they'll just try to find it. And he gives him back his gun, and he's like, I'm going to hold you up again anyway. And it's kind of funny and silly.
Right. Sorry, I'm looking up what $5,000 would be from adjusted for inflation.
1941, probably
Right.
a lot.
Calculate.
Because she
it
gave
would
him
be
like
$87,000, $207.14.
how much is
money.
$200? Because that's how much Bridget gives them at the beginning. That makes them think that she's lying.
Great question. 200. Calculates. That would be $3,488.
Dang, I wonder if that's on par for a private detective.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised, but also because like one of the things that I was thinking about was she kept $100, so she's like, I need something to live on, and so.
It's like, how much is $100? Yeah, that's,
I guess that's half
we'll
of
divide it by
3,400.
Well, I guess that
Or
isn't
3,500.
technically how the math would work, but close enough. So yeah, they come to an agreement and they're going to work together, or they're not.
$1,744.
Gotcha. So Spade is being tailed. He loses the tail. Great. Back at Spade's, Bridget and Cairo meet and negotiate over the Falcon. They reference a fat man who killed Thursby. Cairo eventually leaves after cops show up and they make a little bit of trouble, and he decides to go away. Bridget explains what she knows about the Falcon, supposedly what she knows about the Falcon to Sam. She was working with Thursby and Cairo, but they both betrayed her. That's what the story is from her at this point. So Sam confronts the tail, gets him kicked out of a hotel where Cairo is staying, which is pretty funny because he's just kind of a blowhard. and he's just gets the manager and gets him thrown out with no trouble.
Are we talking about the gunman?
Yeah.
Yeah. What's his name? Wesley?
Wesley. No. Wilhelm. Yeah.
Wesley Incorporated.
Wilhelm?
Shout out Cordo Digital.
Is it Wilhelm?
It is Wilhelm.
No, it's something else weird. I wrote it down
No, it's
here.
Wilhelm because it's Wilhelm. I was singing Wilhelm Scream when I heard his name. That's how I remembered it.
Weird. Yeah, this is the line that I wrote down where like Sam shows up to talk to Cairo, and he says, well, let's talk. He said, well, can't we talk here? It's like, well, no, let's go somewhere else where we can talk alone. And he says, our private conversations have not been such that I would like to continue them. Oh, not that I would be anxious to continue them.
Yeah.
That's very funny.
One of the most iconic lines, I'll slap you and you like it. And you like it.
It's so good. Reminds me, I sent you the TikTok of the guy with the dog with the...
Oh, yeah. And a guy sticks his hand in the dog's mouth and just like moves it up and down.
I die laughing every single time. It's so good. So Spade meets the fat man finally. The conversation goes nowhere except that the bird is worth a lot and the fat man knows why. So then they have a separate conversation. He gets brought back in. There's really no reason, I guess, that this would be a separate scene. It just seemed kind of redundant.
Right.
But like literally immediately after this scene, he gets brought back in to talk to the fat man again. And he's like, well, I guess I will explain everything to you this time.
Yeah. I didn't quite get that, but...
yeah, it was weird.
Yeah.
Fat man explains the Falcon. He offers Spade tons of money to bring it to him, but he actually just drugs him and then leaves him there.
I didn't understand that, too, because then
it's
they
not
show
like
up at
he's
his
tying him
apartment.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah, what are you doing? Like, what are you delaying here?
Yeah.
Nothing.
Well, and then like they wanted him to show up at his apartment, then they're waiting for him after that. So it's like,
just
why
weird.
do they want to talk to him again? They could have just came where he was.
Yeah, so Sam trashes the place and finds out there's a boat arriving from Hong Kong that he thinks has probably the Falcon arriving on it. It's been torched, though. He goes back to his office, and the captain of the boat shows up with the Falcon and dies. Bridget calls and is in danger. Sam goes to help out, but first stows away the Falcon. They go to Sam's apartment, and Fat Man and Cairo are there. Fat Man explains everything. They killed Thursby to get Bridget to do what they wanted. Captain Jacoby was killed because he probably had the Falcon. He did. They come to an agreement, and the secretary is to bring the Falcon to the apartment. They uncover the Falcon, and it's a fake.
Amazing.
It's lead. And then we find out that Bridget killed Archer. There's this whole long sequence of them having this, like, ethical, like, emotional debate of, like, well, what if I do love you? And then it's very old Hollywood, noir. Like, what if I do love you? And then I shouldn't do this. And then if I do this and I don't do that, then it wouldn't be the law. And I have to be justice in the law because I'm a private detective, by God.
Who's never lied or done anything against the law in this movie. And I have so much integrity.
Yeah. So that is
the summation.
What dreams are made of.
Good job on the summary there. That was a hard one, and you did a really good job on that. I just want to compliment you on that.
It was so difficult, man. You have no idea. And I was doing it at work, too, technically, because it was one of my nothing shifts where I'm just kind of there to be there. It's great. So the Maltese Falcon, what do you think?
Dude, it was freaking amazing.
It's very good.
Off the bat, like, it was one of the, like, it's a very dialogue heavy movie. You could arguably listen to this movie and not look at it. And,
it could almost be a radio drama.
Exactly, yeah. But there were some great noir shots in there. There were a few amazing ones. Obviously wasn't the most, compared to today's standards, the best cinematic masterpiece of all time by any means. But overall, I really liked it, and it never felt boring, even though it could have been a radio show. There was enough.
In the first half, I definitely kind of like it felt slow to me.
It felt a bit slow, and then it sped up super fast.
Oh yeah.
But everything was in there for a purpose, so you didn't really feel like at the end of it that you wasted that time at the beginning. And I liked how it's told from the detective's perspective the entire time.
Yeah.
So you're finding out things like he would find them out. You're not necessarily at every situation that goes down.
Exactly.
Because you are the detective. You have to kind of put the clues together for yourself. You are shown certain things, and like at the beginning when his partner is shot, you don't see who shoots him. You just see the gun. And some stuff like that. So it's really well done. I mean,
they actually did intentionally try to shoot it like from like Humphrey Bogart's perspective, his physical perspective, and his like point of view, and like over the shoulder and stuff.
Really,
to give you that sense of like you are Sam Spade in the situation from his perspective. Which I don't know how much that necessarily carries through, but it's a cool detail.
But I would say at the same time, like, we take so many things for granted. Like, again, I think we've talked about this before, but you watch, Citizen Kane, and you're like, why is this arguably the best movie on everyone's list? And it's like, okay, because it started all these things. Like, all the things that you're familiar with and think are tropes now came from this. And so, when you see that for the first time, I'm sure it was really interesting. And so I think there's a lot of stuff like that in this movie.
Yeah.
That maybe doesn't hit us now, but would hit an audience who saw it in the 40s,
Which that kind of, we'll get to this later, but that hits on my idea for our next episode.
Ooh.
Which could be interesting.
Awesome.
But yeah, it was good.
Can we kind of go through like some of the plot points and just like, because I was having some ideas when we were going through that. It's kind of hard to just pin down random stuff. I should write notes probably.
Jeez, you dumb. Why don't you write notes?
What's like the first major event in the movie? I guess his wife or the partner gets killed.
Partner gets killed, yeah.
So yeah, what did you think about like, the affair thing? Like, it didn't feel established to me.
Yeah, it was just kind of a thing that happened.
It was there,
It makes me want to read the book.
Yeah,
because
true.
so much of this
is more nuanced.
I remember watching it and being like 30 minutes in and being like, how much of this is left? Because it felt like so much had already happened.
Right.
But also so little had weirdly happened.
That's very accurate. Yeah.
So like there's just so much packed into this that makes me so curious about the book and like the original novel by Dashiell Hammett.
Yeah.
The Maltese Falcon.
Yep.
Like I don't know. Like, it's the same thing. Like I really want to read I Am Legend for that same reason. That like I don't know like how much is expanded is this.
Right. True.
Yeah.
A lot of the what tends to be what I've noticed like in when you watch a movie that is inspired by a book and you have those questions, it's because like they weren't able to like actually fully explore that plot line.
Yeah.
Whereas in a book you have more time and you can kind of flush stuff out. Yeah. And in a movie, inevitably you have to cut stuff. Another thing that I was just thinking about randomly was the fighting in it is so hilarious, dude.
It's realistic is the funny thing. It's like, it's super realistic because it's very just like...
But like, it's like you get a punch, dude's knocked the frick out.
Yeah, which is how it would go. With the guy who's experienced at this kind of thing, like Detective Sam Spade, this guy knows how to punch a guy.
Right.
And little Peter Lorre, he's getting knocked the heck out.
Okay, but the falls are freaking hilarious, though.
They are.
It was just funny. I'm not saying it's not realistic.
It's hilarious, though, that every time Sam Spade is in physical danger, he just, like, takes the gun away.
Yeah.
It's like, this is mine now. Like, the moment when Wilhelm, or whatever his name is, comes back to get him the second time, and he just, like, takes his coat off and, like, takes both of his guns, and he's like, dang it! And he hands them to Gutman, and he's like, you should get a better boy. It's very like 1940s detective and all that. Oh man, with old movies like this too. It's interesting to look at the things that are very much cultural elements and stuff that like doesn't hold up as well, or is very much like I didn't get any of that.
No,
I
mean even like how they treated. Well, I mean, I guess you could say to an extent how like women were treated in it was
a little bit, but there were largely they were equals.
Yeah,
weirdly.
100%. Well, and one line that kind of stuck out to me was like he's talking to his assistant and he's like, "You're a good man, sister."
I loved that. Yeah,
great line. I loved that. Yeah,
the secretary was a very important character,
and he was very respectful to the secretary the entire time. Like, from the beginning, he's like, "Darling, I don't know what I would do without you. You're invaluable." Like,
Angel. That's my Humphrey Bogart.
Love it. That was
just
great.
Kidding.
Hire this man for your voice acting.
We'll always have Paris. That's Casablanca.
Yeah.
Play it again, Sam. He never actually says that in Casablanca, but that's the famous thing that people think he says in Casablanca.
Kind of like when Darth Vader said, "Luke, I am your father."
He says, "What's up? You're my boy."
What's up, bro?
What's up?
I freaked Padme, Luke, and you came out.
You are my boy. No!
Yes!
Oh, I hated that. Might have to edit that one out.
Come on. Okay.
But, yeah, I don't know. Do you have any other thoughts?
I don't know. What are the other plot points? Because again, like when we were reading through them, I had things to say. So, yeah. What's next?
I really love how like he goes from cool and calm 1 second to just like, "Hey man, what's your deal?" Like, like when the cops come to confront him, he's like, "Oh, come on in. You want a drink?" And like, "You got a gun?" It's like, "I don't have a gun. You can search the entire place if you want to."
Right.
And then they start to question him a little bit, and he's like, still cool with him and everything, but then just like that, he's like, what is this? If you got evidence, then you got to tell me it and tell me what's going on, boys, and tell me what the deal is. And
right. Yeah, and like...
but it's always controlled. Like when he freaks out on Gutman later, he walks out and he's like, I sure tricked him and made him think that I was a hothead.
Right, exactly. Yeah, everything that he does is very calculated, and like, you know, he's extremely witty throughout all of it, and I think that's part of what makes the dialogue bearable throughout the entire movie, because again, it's such a dialogue heavy movie.
Yeah.
The actors do such a great job in each of their roles. I think they're perfect for each one of them. But, you know, one of the lines that I thought was, again, super funny was, I don't know, was he talking to Cairo when this happened, I think? But he was talking to him, and he's like, you always have an answer for everything. You're a smooth guy. And he's like, what, do you want me to learn how to stutter?
I didn't catch that. That's great.
It's amazing.
That's very good.
Also, I loved, like, let's talk about the cast, because it was
the casting was very good.
It was I think it was like where a lot of the cast members got their start, you know, like, I don't know the name of who Joe Kyra's actor was.
That is Peter Lorre. He went on to do a lot of character acting and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think that's kind of where he got his like big start. But I loved his character, like, and how he portrayed him so much.
It's his favorite character that he ever played.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. But I mean, I was watching the thing, and it was like arguably the Nazi guy from Indiana Jones was inspired by his character, as well as you could say Indiana Jones was a little bit inspired, or like his general demeanor was a bit inspired by Sam, whatever.
I can see that.
But yeah, no, I thought the casting was just amazing, and like they carried the dialogue. If it could have been a horrible movie if the cast hadn't done such an amazing job with the dialogue.
And they were like best friends behind the scenes.
Really?
Yeah, they loved it. Like John Huston and Humphrey Bogart and what's her name?
Woman.
Mary Astor and like Peter Lorre. They all would like go to John Huston's lake house like every single year and like drink and have fun.
You know, I wonder like how big Hollywood was at the time. You know what I mean? Was it more
because it was still in the studio system back then,
Right.
where like you signed a contract with Universal and you made Universal Pictures, and they would lend you out to Paramount if they made a deal, and then like they give you Laurence Olivier for this picture and like all that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's so.
It's so weird to think about.
I'm gonna do some more research about that, because like I think you look at like YouTube and all this stuff today, and like I wonder what that's going to be like in the next, decade or 20 or 30 years. Well, I mean, like compared to how like Hollywood started and what it is now, compared to like how YouTube is starting and kind of this independent content creation and what it might be in, 50 years. So I'm curious. I want to see how, see if there's anything that would be indicative of how that would, in the entertainment world, of how that might play out.
Sure. Have you seen Hail Caesar?
I've not, no.
I think it's on Netflix. It's a Coen Brothers movie. It's not their best, but it's fun.
Right.
I think you'd enjoy it.
I'll take a watch.
Cool. Like a movement watches?
Move MVMT. I actually
join the
love those
movement.
watches.
I really want one, but I also don't want to spend like $100 on a watch, because I have a watch and I stopped wearing it a long time ago.
I don't know. I feel like if you buy a watch though, then you spend money on it, then you want to wear it.
I want to wear my watch though, and then I wear it for a length of time, and I'm just like, I can't do this anymore.
Really?
Like I used to wear it all the time, and now it just like I can't get used to it.
I've got my Apple Watch, the Series 1 actually, and it's still solid. So if you wanted like an Apple Watch, I would just go buy like a Series 2 or something for like less than $100.
The Maltese watch. It's what dreams are made of.
True. Oh yeah, that line, amazing.
Yeah. Well,
what did you think about the twist at the end?
That it wasn't real.
Yeah, because I feel like that's the whole part, like emphasis of the movie, where things, because that brings into like. Because up until then, you're kind of like, okay, well, they kill people to get what they want, but it's worth it because they're going to get what they want.
They're going to get this jeweled, encrusted thing.
And then as soon as you realize it's not the Maltese Falcon, you like my first thought was like, oh, so now there's two people who died for no reason.
Yeah. What I think is interesting, there's two types of people in this movie then, after that moment, is you have Gutman and Cairo, who are like, Gutman immediately is like, well, I've spent 14 years looking for this. That's what I said. I've spent 17 years looking for this. I'm going to spend another year doing it.
Right.
But Sam Spade is like, that was a fun time. I'm going to be done.
Right.
Like, he knows that this is an all-consuming thing. He's seen what it's done to Gutman and what it's done to Cairo, like these people. And he's like, I'm not interested in that.
Right.
I'm a man
and
of the
arguably,
streets.
like, one of the few quote-unquote redeeming qualities of Sam is like that he isn't obsessed about the Falcon throughout the movie, that's the main
it's all
difference.
about the case. It's all about the case.
Right, and how he's playing the angles and stuff. Yeah.
That's very good. Maltese Falcon, yes or no?
Oh, absolutely yes. I
go to yes. Big yes.
Big yes.
Big yes energy.
Big yes.
So, welcome to everyone's second favorite segment.
Really? Do people like this segment? Have you gotten anybody reaching out about it?
I don't know. We'll find
Hey,
out.
we should. If you want to give us feedback on the show, I would love to hear it. If you have any suggestions or anything, like some segments you want to hear or things you don't want us to do, feel free to DM us. Our socials will be at the end or below or.
Yep, you can also
this.
email us at thegreatscubdo, which is hard to spell. So have fun with that one.
At gmail.com?
At gmail.com. Yep.
Yes. Love it.
Pretty cool. IMDb trivia.
IMDb.
So they had several statuettes of
they
the
had four.
Falcon. The Falcon. So 3 of the statuettes still exist and are conservatively valued at over $1 million.
No, one of
each.
them sold at auction for $4.1 million.
That's
recently.
wild.
And another one for 3.7.
Oof. This makes them some of the most valuable film props ever made. Indeed, each is now worth more than 3 times what the film cost to make.
That's so cool.
And I guess even more so now that they've, since this, I guess, sold for more than that.
Right.
So that's kind of crazy. Here's another one. Let me move my mic a little bit.
Also, I definitely want to get a Maltese Falcon. I know I sent you some pictures last night.
I think we should get the second one.
Yeah,
with
that's like $90.
$50 each.
Or $50 each, yeah.
I can't do that in this pay period,
Same.
but next one, let's hop on that.
Maybe mid-month.
Yeah. John Huston and company tickled themselves with a number of other on-set jokes. They we're so funny. No.
I didn't really mean to make that sound, but it came out of my body.
As Mary Astor recounted in her autobiography, the cast and crew had a system whereby Huston would signal for a certain practical joke to be played for visitors to the set for the benefit of visiting starstruck social club women. The number 5 had Humphrey Bogart going into a prepared act with Sidney Greenstreet, Gutman,
Right.
Who, fun fact, had a prolific theater career before this, but this is his first on-screen role. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and that's another thing to point out. Like in this time, like it was a transition from theater to film, and so like a lot of like cinematography wasn't even thought about.
And it was still kind of the transition from like silent to
true,
silent films to
100%
talkies,
actually. Yeah.
which is interesting.
And like I think a lot of the cinematography like looks very basic, but even the lighting is something that was like noticeable to audiences.
Yeah.
Like how it was lit. That's why it was called a noir, because
Yeah,
it means
we should
darker.
talk about that like as a whole.
True.
Especially when we get to like when we do the samurai episode, but we'll get there. So number 5 had Humphrey Bogart going into a prepared act with Sidney Greenstreet. He'd start yelling and cursing at him, calling him a fat old fool. Who the hell do you think you are? You upstaged me, and I'm telling you I'm not having any, so on, so on. At which point Huston would jump into the act, holding back Bogart's mock rage. Very quickly, the embarrassed and disillusioned ladies would shuffle towards the nearest exit.
Oh my God.
Meanwhile, the number 10 had Peter Lorre coming out of Mary Astor's dressing room at the appropriate moment, adjusting his fly and saying, "See you later, Mary." Just the idea that they had like numbered pranks.
Oh,
they'd be like,
yeah.
Operation 5, go!
Hey, number 5.
It's time for number 5. Toots, let's roll. Like,
That's amazing.
it's
I love
hilarious.
that chemistry. That's
like it's
so
the same
cool.
thing. Like it's the same kind of friendship that like the cast of the Lord of the Rings had. But
Yeah.
it's so weird thinking about certain movies behind the scenes where they were so close and everything.
That's awesome. I mean, yeah, you just don't see that these days. You know,
Yeah.
like so much money's being thrown around, and people are doing so many different projects, and they're kind of their own individual entity. That there's like not a lot of room for brotherhood and teamwork.
Yeah, this is amazing to me. I cannot believe this. Despite the numerous practical jokes his cast and crew played, John Huston proved himself to be the consummate professional and was so efficient at his job that the crew often finished shooting for the day early, well ahead of schedule. One of these days, Huston had set aside an entire day to shoot one elaborate moving camera sequence. The sequence lasted about 7 minutes, and they nailed it perfectly in one take. The rest of the day was spent at the golf club. It was
Wow.
because of days like this that the production finished 2 days ahead of schedule and $54,000 under budget.
Wow, that's like, what a-
Directorial debut.
wow, that's amazing. And especially with such a, I mean, were the cast members like well known at the time? Was it like a big hitting cast? You know,
Bogart had done a lot of
'cause this was before Casablanca. And
yeah,
stuff,
this is
right?
before Casablanca and Treasure of the Sierra Madre. This was like his first big role.
Okay.
But he'd done a lot of character acting and stuff. He was the heavy in a lot of movies.
Okay, cool. Good to know. Yeah, so I mean that's awesome. I mean that's like every director's dream, you know, first directorial role, and you're ahead of schedule under budget.
Yeah.
It's amazing, and the actors love each other. I also think that like I'll bet you they wouldn't have had the friendship that they had if they didn't have that extra time. You know what I mean? Because like you think about like theater and stuff. Like when you were in that, like you really get to know the people around you when it's after rehearsal and you're going to freaking where do they go to Village Inn and stuff like.
Village Inn, Highway Diner.
Right. So, so those are when those friendships are made and when the chemistry is really brought together and all those moments when you're kind of sitting and waiting for stuff to happen. So I'll bet a lot of that was through, those going to hang out on the golf course or going, hey, we're done early. You want to go do this or you want to come over to my place tonight or
coming up with pranks because you're bored.
Right.
Like
exactly.
Yeah.
Which I think, carries over to the movie.
Say? Oh, yeah. It's like the same thing with The Lord of the Rings and that cast and everything.
Right.
Where, like, it's a crazy, weird thing where, they somehow convinced a studio to let them make 3 insane, huge movies at once.
Right.
Like, literally, Ian McKellen's first day shooting was his first scene, and his second day shooting was the very last scene where he has to say goodbye to the hobbits and go off to the Grey Havens and everything.
Oh, wow.
Which is so weird because, he hadn't met Billy Boyd and Dom yet, and he's just saying goodbye to them for the first time now. Dang.
Is that scene still good? Like, can you tell?
Oh, yeah. They had to shoot it like 1,000 times, which there's a funny story behind that. But, like, it's the same kind of thing there where Peter Jackson, the director, always talks about that movie as a Kiwi home movie. Where it just, even though it was this massive studio trilogy, they felt like they were making like an indie movie in New Zealand on their home turf. And like they would literally like write scenes and then shoot them the next day.
Wow.
And they would adjust things on the fly like crazy. Like the whole one does not simply walk into Mordor and that the whole like speech that Boromir then goes through was written the previous night.
Wow.
Like Peter Jackson talked to Sean Bean and was like, this scene's missing something. And this is also a big piece of news that's everywhere right now because they just did that Reunited Apart thing. So that's when this story came out. But he was like, this scene kind of needs something. I think you should say something. And he pulls out the book and finds a little piece and he's like, this thing right here. Memorize that. We'll do that tomorrow.
Wow.
So he's like looking down. Every time he's looking down like this in the scene because he's like stressed out and like this is crazy. One does not simply walk into Mordor. He's looking at the lines, the speech on his knee.
That's amazing.
Which is hilarious. Yeah, but the whole movie was shot that way and they became super super close. They've all got the tattoos and everything.
Right.
That's like the original Avengers cast.
That's just like pure creativity. That's amazing.
The final IMDb trivia. The opening, and this is something that I wondered about, and it's interesting to know this, but the opening scroll about the history of the Maltese Falcon is pure invention.
Wait, what? You mean the song?
The opening scroll of the history of the Maltese Falcon is pure invention. It's all made up.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
None of this is real.
So it's not based on a true story.
Yeah, there's no real Maltese Falcon or anything. It's all just a book that a guy wrote.
Right, okay. Yeah. That's interesting. Yeah. I wondered about that, actually.
I also wondered about that. So when I saw that, I wrote it down, and now we both know it.
And now you know it as the audience member.
Now you know
we're
it.
Here, so we can do all those things that you don't want to Google.
That's right, Caleb.
Love you, Caleb.
Love you, Caleb. Keep sending me those cool Warzone snipes.
You should get on our squad so we can snipe some boys.
Have you played with Caleb?
No, I don't think so. Wait, Caleb King?
I have no idea who that is.
Oh, from in our server?
Is that King? Is that what King's name is?
Maybe. I don't know.
I don't know. No, Caleb... Is Caleb in the server? Oh, Caleb's not in the server.
Okay.
But he's in the regiment.
Oh, cool. Okay. Well, Caleb, let's squad up sometime.
He's a cool guy. He's pretty all right.
Bill Gun Nation.
Bill Gun Nation.
I changed my tag to be Ben instead of Bill.
You disgust me.
I know.
So that is the end of the Falcon show.
Oh, wait. Is this IMDb trivia? Because I have my trivia question for you.
Oh, yeah. I didn't write down the thing about that line.
Okay. What is the last line in the Maltese Falcon?
Is it not the thing that dreams are made of?
It is not.
What's
is
after
that your guess? It is the last line of the Maltese Falcon. And if anybody ever asks you this trivia, you now know.
Oh, wait, I know it.
What is it?
It's caw-caw! The Falcon comes alive!
And he destroys everyone.
No! Humphrey Bogart! Oh, no!
It's kind of, I mean, it's a little bit anticlimactic, but the last line is,
It's very good. My piece of trivia about that line is that it was Humphrey Bogart's idea on the day.
It was, yeah.
And it was taken originally from A
Shakespeare.
Midsummer Night's Dream in Shakespeare. It was Shakespeare for sure. I think it was A Midsummer Night's Dream.
It could be, yeah.
It was paraphrased, basically.
It was very paraphrased, yeah. But there you go.
Oh, no, I think it was Hamlet. It was Hamlet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which there is a classic version of Hamlet with Laurence Olivier on
Really?
HBO Max, and we should totally do an episode on that one.
Heck yeah.
And then watch The Lion King and compare them. They're the same story. Are you aware of this?
Yeah, I am very aware.
Yeah. So that's it. Time for the next part. Tell me what you've been doing, what you've been getting into, what you're reading and watching and listening to.
Yeah, I haven't been.
What you listening to? What you listening to, Ben? What you know? What you hear? What you doing, Ben? Yeah.
This is what I've been doing.
The song's over, dude. Tell me. Please.
I really haven't been consuming that much media. I've been playing a lot of Warzone. Getting progressively worse at it.
That's the way it be.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, really haven't been watching anything super crazy. I don't really have any great suggestions, but I don't know. Sorry. I don't know. This is the one time I don't really have that much stuff. I had some interesting experiences over the weekend. I don't know. I don't really want to talk about it on the podcast.
I don't know if that's a podcast.
I don't really want to. Yeah.
That seems more like the Ben Weber experience.
True. Yeah. Anyways,
podcast. Are you still doing that?
Yes, I will probably be doing that. I'm gonna start that this weekend.
I think that you should definitely talk about those things on that show. I think that
100%.
fits that show a lot.
That'd be great, actually. Yeah.
That'd be really cool.
That'd actually be a really cool episode because then I can put out some of the footage that I got. So yeah, tune in. Ben Weber. This is called the Ben Weber Show on Spotify. Follow it. It's really on every platform. Same platforms that this podcast is on.
Yeah. I tried to get this one on Stitcher and it was being weird.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you take it off Stitcher?
It was never on it. Oh. Apparently, it wasn't being pushed out to Stitcher.
That's odd. Podcast back end stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know. What else do we have? What have you been watching?
I finished season 1 of The Wire. It was good. I enjoyed it. It really got a lot better in the later half of it.
Right.
I started the first episode of the second season, and it was intriguing, and I haven't come back to it yet. I probably will, though. I'm taking a break from super dramatic drugs TV. And instead I started watching Homecoming on Amazon Prime. It is not what it looks like, and it's interesting. It's 20-minute episodes. There's 10 of them.
Right.
Which is interesting because it's not a comedy, really. It's like it's a drama.
Right.
Which is weird that it's 20-minute episodes because of that. But it's very interesting. I'm very intrigued by it. It's one of those shows where it presents itself as one thing, and then clearly there's something weird happening, and that's what keeps you watching.
Right.
Thank you, Zach Cruzy, my guy.
Shout out, Zach.
For suggesting this to me. And I guess on the back end of that, our boy Bobby for suggesting it to Zachy.
Bobby Misner.
I have no idea what that was.
He's a billionaire's son.
Yes. So that's what that is. And I started reading Full Metal Alchemist again. Ooh. I was almost through the first, technically 3 volumes. I got them right there. Right here.
Ooh. Are those animes?
They're manga.
Or mangas, right?
So there is an anime, and it's actually a really good gateway anime. I think you might like it.
Okay. The only anime that I've ever given a shot is oh my god, it's the one where they're in VR and they're
Sword Art Online.
Yes.
Did you like Sword Art?
I didn't mind it, to be honest.
I really liked Sword Art Online from what I watched. The Gun Gale Online season, the one where they're in the gun version,
right,
isn't as good. But I haven't watched the latest season, Eliza's Sorcerization.
Yeah.
However you pronounce that. Apparently it was very good. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm behind on all the animes that I watch. I haven't even caught up on My Hero.
Dumb excuse to not watch anime. But
you hate the Japanese?
I hate that. Yeah. I hate the...
no,
I don't. We don't need that right now.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's like the way that the lines are delivered. It's hard for me to listen to it for a long time.
Yeah.
It's a what? The speech patterns. That's what I mean. And it's not even the dialogue. It's just literally the speech patterns. And it's after a while, it just gets annoying.
You need to watch Cowboy Bebop.
Yeah.
I have it on Blu-ray.
Okay.
I have the entire series. It's one season. There's 26 episodes.
Okay.
And it's incredible. It is very Americanized. It was more made for an American audience.
Okay.
And it's very, very good. In fact, most people, like there's always the debate between subs and dubs. Most people would say that the dub is the definitive version of the show.
Interesting.
And it's being made into a Netflix series starring John Cho.
Cool. I'll watch
It
that.
looks incredible.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'll watch that.
we
I'll
don't know
watch
anything
Netflix
about
series.
it. We haven't seen anything about it. He injured himself, and he's going to be getting back to it. But I remember when they announced it, everyone was like, well, who the hell could possibly play Spike Spiegel, this
Right.
amazing, cool character, this cool cat? And they announced John Cho, and I was like, oh, that's perfect.
Yeah.
There's no one else. He doesn't even need to do the big green hair. His hair just looks like it. It's perfect. That guy is Spike Spiegel, space bounty hunter.
Cool.
But it's very good. I think you'd actually really like it.
I'll take a look.
Every episode is like a different genre.
Take a watch.
Yeah. I'll pull it out for you. Honestly, I think you should start watching it tonight, and then I'll come
Okay.
home and see where you're at. I think
yeah.
I
I guess-
legit think that you would really, really enjoy it.
Right. Also, random thing. I would love any book suggestions that you guys have. I'm gonna try and start reading books. I've watched this cool video that pointed out that if you spend
If you read a book a day, then you
yes,
then you get a
can
Lamborghini.
be a Lamborghini owner and have as many YouTube ads as you want.
Yeah.
But no, more so, if you read a book for 30 minutes a day, you can read 7 books a year. And if you read a book for, on average, maybe 10 minutes a week, you will only get done with about 30 books in your lifetime, which is a very small amount of books.
Weird.
Yeah. So even by just daily putting 30 minutes in, you can read a ridiculous, it was, it seems intimidating to like read a bunch of books a year, right? Like you wonder how those people like have my top 5 books of the year kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But it literally, the guy was saying the difference between you and if you don't read books and those people is literally all they do is spend 30 minutes a day reading a book, and that's how they're able to go through all those books, which I thought was really cool.
It makes sense. Like when I was really when I read novels and stuff, like I'm still working on The Outsider.
Right.
Like when I read. Like I get
100%.
super into it.
Yeah, I don't even know if I'll be able to stop myself after a half hour because
Yeah.
back in the day I loved reading. Like I was homeschooled, and so I was.
I
a
read all the
reader
Rick
boy.
Roydren books in an hour.
I read all the Harry Potter books. I read
Controversy.
the Hobbit. What?
Read Harry Potter, but you couldn't watch SpongeBob?
That's a great point. That's a great point. I was old enough at that point that SpongeBob wasn't really an important thing.
Whatever. It still is. So
Yeah. No, I have had to, and this is because I was homeschooled. For those of you at home, I have not. I wasn't able to watch SpongeBob because that was of the devil, and also we didn't have cable.
Yeah.
Shout out, Mom. Love
Famous
you.
superhero
It's okay.
cable.
But I to this day watch SpongeBob episodes just to try and like fill that void in my childhood when everyone my age talks about SpongeBob shows that I don't know about. And I do. One of my favorite things about my car is that I do have a DVD player, and the DVD that lives in that car is the most iconic episodes of SpongeBob
A DVD
that I bought
player.
for $2. Yes.
Really?
Yeah, and I wired it so that you can watch movies while the car's moving.
What?
Yeah. You
That's
can't do
insane.
that. You just have to put the ground wire on the frame. So just
That's wild. Well, we're coming up at like an hour 7, so
heck yeah, we did a good episode. I like this episode.
I thought it was terrible.
Oh.
Terrible
Tell
episode.
us what you think by leaving us a review. It would really help us out.
Yep, if you're listening on iTunes, drop a review on there. If you liked it, tell us about it. We
you're
might
watching
read
on
it on
YouTube,
the
hit us with a
show.
like.
Yep, if you're watching it on YouTube,
Or-
tell us about
And
it.
if you want to see some like Warzone stuff, should we edit some like Warzone like funny moments clips?
Yeah.
'Cause I feel like we have a few. I don't know.
By we, do you mean you?
Good point. If you guys want that, hit us up.
Yeah.
But yeah, hit us up. Leave us a review.
Yeah, what
Help
kind of
us out.
content you want? You can check us out on The Great Scub Do on Twitch and on YouTube. That's SCUBDU for Scub Do. We post all kinds of we post Warzone streams and the podcast on there. We're gonna eventually do some Rocket League stuff and things like that. I'm at mparish_art on Instagram and Marshall Parrish on Patreon. I believe I'm also at mparish_art on Twitter. I've been kind of active on Twitter lately, actually. Not really like tweeting, but a lot of like liking
Retweeting.
things and retweeting things.
Yeah. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah. So I'll announce my little schedule for my content coming out here for the first time. So happy birthday to everyone listening.
Yeah.
I'll be posting a lot on Instagram a little bit more. So that is at Ben Weber Media. I'll be follow me on Twitter. That'll be more just my personal kind of thing if you want to get to know me. None of my opinions affect my other stuff. I'll be doing Twitch every Tuesday and Thursday. Tuesday will be a creative stream where I'll be editing a project or, doing some sort of tutorial. Or editing my YouTube video that will come out every Friday. So that's going to be fun. Those will be kind of whatever I want to do, maybe some video essays or something like that. Any
Yeah.
project that I feel like doing. On Thursdays, I'll do another Twitch stream, which will be games with the boys. So Marshall will probably be on that.
Yep.
I might have to steal his webcam. We'll see.
Wow.
I know. And then and then Saturdays will be my very own
For the boys.
podcast called the Ben Weber Media Show. I'm going to put I might wait for the Bill episode till the week after this one, because I kind of want to talk about what I did this weekend.
Yeah.
And I think that'd be a really cool thing to talk about from, the photography and journalistic perspective.
Yeah.
So hopefully all y'all stayed safe, and we love everybody. Black Lives Matter, and we support all that. So, we need a lot of unity in this country right now. So hopefully we were able to give you a little bit of an hour break from, maybe some of the other social media, and yeah.
Also,
Love
if you
y'all.
check out my Twitter feed, I've been retweeting a lot of just kind of chill moments happening at protests and stuff, and officers joining in and
The Flint thing yesterday was very inspiring.
Yeah, did you watch the full video of that?
Yeah, I did. It was
so
amazing.
Cool. Yeah,
and it's really just what we needed. I mean, super cool. Anyways, we'll talk about it more. What? I have no clue what you're saying. What's your? Did you put your socials out yet? Oh, also TikTok. We have a viral TikTok. It reached 45K.
Are you kidding me?
I don't know why it's blowing up again.
That's crazy.
So go watch my TikTok, and also help us get a free one wheel. The air conditioning just turned on,
which is good because it's getting warm in here.
Heck yeah. Well, do you have anything else to say about the show?
Don't think so. Thanks for listening. Thanks for checking it out.
Appreciate you. Thank you for staying to the end. If you're here, comment down below pickles or text us pickles, and we'll know you finished the show.
Yep. I think that's everything. I feel like I keep forgetting to do some kind of sign off every week, and then the show just ends. But we already did our socials.
Yeah. Do we have a sign off? Should we make up? I don't know. We always get to this point. We never know how to end it.
The show is over. It is done. I have had a little bit of fun.
Yeah. My name is...
No, it's over.
Okay.